Greetings, mighty companions, and welcome to the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center 11 a.m. Course in Miracles gathering. And welcome to you guys. Thanks for coming out here on this beautiful Sunday. Thanks for bringing your bodies, actual bodies out when I know you could be watching online. Thank you for supporting the Miracle Center and helping it to grow. Thank you. All right, you guys. So let's just start for a moment in just taking a breath and allowing our minds to actually catch up with our bodies and actually be where our bodies are right here, right now. So if you are able to, and you haven't already, close your eyes and just take a good, deep, cleansing breath. Whew, let everything but what's happening right here, right now, go. If you want to pick it back up on the way out the door, you can. But for this moment, just let everything go. Remember that the past is gone. It can touch you not. And the future has not happened yet. But what is happening is the power and the peace of this present moment now. So let us tune our awareness to the frequency and the vibration of now. Like a dial on a radio, tuning in to the power and the presence that is present right now within each one of us and moving ecstatically between us. Feeling the now. Feeling the limitless potential of the present moment. Feeling that one self that we share with each other and with God. Feeling the fact of our unity, our oneness, feeling it, tuning into it, and allowing the feeling of our one self to heal our belief in separation. And allowing the fact of our oneness and the feeling of it to cure our loneliness. We practice feeling our oneness, our unity with all of life and with the source of life. Within ourselves, let us remember, I am one self, united with my Creator, and at one with every aspect of creation. I am one self, united with my Creator, and one with every aspect of creation. And breathe that in. Feel the fact of our unity, one self. And now let us imagine now sending this feeling, this fact of our unity to all the world. Let's imagine encompassing the world in this memory of our oneness. Imagining all the world awakening to the fact that they are not alone, not on their own. Let us remember for all of humanity that we are not separate, not from each other, not from source. And let us see all of humanity awakening to this happy fact, throwing off their shackles of fear and guilt, and rising again in unity and love. All of humanity radiant in the light of God's love. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, just take another breath, bringing your awareness back to your body here. Beautiful. Well, on behalf of humanity that is healed when we join in remembering the truth that we are one with them, thank you. Thank you. This is how we use our bodies for the healing of humanity. All right. So where we're at today is chapter 18, section 3. And the edited title is called Light in the Dream. And the original title, as it was dictated to Helen Schuckman, is The Advance to Truth. The advance. It's like, I'm advancing? Oh, tell me more about that. I am advancing? Wonderful. That's good news. What my ego's telling me is that not only am I not advancing, but that I'm falling back, that I'm failing, that I'm not moving fast enough. Okay? So this section is a beautiful section that to me is like a pep talk to all the light workers. You know, all the miracle workers, all those who have said, all right, I want to be part of the solution for humanity instead of the problem. It's like a pep talk. It's like, you're doing great. You're on your way. You know, this is what you need to remember when you start to step back into the darkness of your fears. You know, yes, of course, as you are advancing to the truth, you are going to get scared. Your ego is going to get afraid. You are going to retreat sometimes to the lesser forms of fear and to stark terror. You will do that in your advance to truth, on your journey from fear to truth. That is our journey. That's the spiritual path that we're on. You know, when you decide that you want to take your part and help humanity to awaken and heal, you become a teacher and a healer. That's just the way it is. And your path now is a path from fear to truth, to love. And on the way, your ego is going to freak out. You are going to get scared. You are moving toward love. You have called to love. You have called to truth. You're here right now, and you are a student of the course because you have called to truth. You've decided you want the truth. And so the course in this section says, since you called to truth, even though you don't realize it, truth has rushed to meet you. Who knew that when I said, I want truth, what is the truth? That says truth, as soon as you said, I want the truth, which is the opposite of fear, truth rushed to meet you. Okay? So this is a reminder of how much support we have as teachers and healers for humanity. Okay? And also, the teachers and healers of humanity are the folks who have decided to bring the darkness in themselves to the light of truth. Anybody who has said, I'm going to look at the darkness in myself, which is the fear in myself, and I'm going to bring it to the light of love within myself, that is somebody who automatically has become a teacher and a healer for everyone. That's how you become a teacher and a healer. You bring the fear within your own mind to the light of truth within your own mind. Okay? And so this is a section that to me is like, though you seem to suffer for it, teachers and healers, the joy of healing and teaching will yet be yours. As teachers and healers for humanity who are on a journey, there are times when it gets dark. There are times when we step back into the fear and it gets dark, and this section is to speak to us and encourage us and to remind us that, hey, you are advancing. You are advancing. Even though you step back to the darkness sometimes in your fear, you will advance to truth because that's your goal. You did set that goal. Sometimes for many of us, we've set that goal for truth so long ago that we forget. It's like, oh yeah, I've set the goal for truth. I am moving toward truth, right? So anyway, that's what I perceive this section to be. It's really, really beautiful and powerful. And so we'll start on paragraph 1. It says, "You who have spent your lives in bringing truth to illusion, you who have spent your life in bringing reality to fantasy, you have walked the way of dreams. Because you have gone from waking to sleeping and on to a yet deeper sleep. And each dream, each fantasy, has led to other dreams, which means that every fantasy that seemed to bring a light into your darkness, but made the darkness deeper." It's telling us about our journey, okay? Our journey from fear to truth. It says, what you don't realize is that your goal was darkness. I didn't realize that. Your goal was a darkness in which no ray of light could enter. Which means you sought a blackness so complete that you could hide from truth forever in complete insanity. Okay, that's how we got in this mess, y'all. Just saying. That's how we got in this mess. And he's saying you forgot. You didn't realize that what your goal had been was a darkness so complete that, no ray of hope, no ray of light was possible. Okay, that's what got us here. Our goal was to hide from truth. That's why we came here, to hide from truth, to hide from God. See, God, can't find me here. Can't get me here in a body, God. Okay, he says that's what our goal was. That's what brought us here into an experience that seems so dark. Okay. He says that's what our goal was a blackness so complete we could hide from truth forever in complete insanity. What we forgot, however, was simply that God cannot destroy itself. That's what we forgot. You can't destroy yourself. You can try. You can try to seek a darkness so complete that there's no light possible in that dream. In other words, you can try to destroy yourself as an immortal being of light, but you cannot. That's what we forgot. When we came here into the darkness to try to hide from the light, to hide from the truth, we forgot that you can't do that. God can't destroy himself, and that's why you can't destroy yourself. That's what we forgot. And it says, the light is in you. Darkness can cover the light in you, but darkness cannot put it out. That's what we forgot. Okay, so it's telling us the story about how we got here in the dream, in the world that seems so dark. Does the world seem a little dark today? Anybody got some little anxiety, fear going on today? Any free-floating anxiety? I talked to my dad yesterday. He was like, I am so anxious I can't even sleep, the election. I said, yeah, it's going around. There's a lot of that going around right now. It's a lot lot of anxiety going around right now. But the world has always been dark. The Course in Miracles tells us that we came here to hide from the light. We came here to hide from the truth. The light and the truth are one. That's what our original intent. The Course in Miracles says, God didn't put you here. God didn't put you here in a body that dies and suffers before you even get the death. God didn't do that. Okay, so if God didn't put us in a body that dies, on a planet that dies, then who did? How did we get here? This explains how we got here. It wasn't God who put us in a body, who created us as a body that suffers and then dies. It's like the body, not only does it die, but it suffers all the way to death. It says we did that. That was what we wanted. That's what we sought. That's what A Course in Miracles is telling us about being here in a body that suffers before it dies. A body that suffers when it's being born, a body that suffers with its growth, and then a body that suffers and then dies. And a planet that dies, that changes. Yes?
So is that idea the one that we had that we wanted to be special?
Yes, exactly. That was the tiny mad idea that crossed our one mind when we were one mind with God. No need, no lack. The metaphor for the state of mind that we were in before we separated into a body is the Garden of Eden. That's a metaphor for a state of mind of no need and no lack. He said, if you are living in need and lack, that is not life. That's not to be alive. You're not alive in fear. To experience lack and deprivation and need, that is to experience darkness. That is another name for fear. Fear is another name for darkness. And so the first thing it wants us to remember is that you're in a place of darkness where death seems to be striking at you everywhere because that's what you wanted. That's what you sought. You're innocent, but you're here not because that's God's will that you be in a body that dies. You're here because that's what you thought you wanted, right? And so, where we were at one with God, no need, no lack. And then a tiny, insane, mad idea crossed our one mind that went something like, well, how about if I had just something just for me? Just for me, for me, not that everybody has equally forever, something just for me. And we forgot to laugh at that idea. We had that crazy idea and then forgot to go, oh, that's hilarious. Why would we do that to ourselves? Why would we do that? We have everything now.
I have a question about that. I have a friend that there's people out there that believe, why does God punish us? Why does God have these wars going on? And I really want to explain to her the tiny mad idea.
Yes, exactly.
Because that just is such common sense.
Absolutely. When people hear that, they go, oh, once you hear it, you realize, yeah, it doesn't make sense. If God is love, why would God create creations that die, that die? If God is eternal and God is love, why would God create God's children to die and suffer? Why? Does it make sense? And so when you hear, oh, God didn't create the body, oh, God didn't create the way, finally it's like, well, now that makes sense. If God is eternal and God is love, like we've all heard in our scriptures, okay?
But it also implies a lot about the power of our mind and the power of what our mind can do when it desires
Thank
something.
you. For real. That, as real as this whole big world seems, as real as this body seems, what that really is symbolizing is the power of our mind and the power of our desire. That's how powerful our mind is. You know, to make a world that seems this real and to make a body that seems this real is nothing for a mind that was created by an unlimited mind like God. That's nothing. That's nothing, you know. So that shows you how powerful our mind is. And if our mind is that powerful, then what can we create when we put our mind to joining what's already true, the will of God? Like, what could we create then? If our mind's that powerful to make this and make it seem so real, then what can our minds do when we join our minds in wanting truth, in wanting God's will? Okay? So it's something to think about. And that would have to mean that there is no order of difficulty in miracles. If our minds are that powerful, that means that any miracle that we need and desire, then we can experience. Okay. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Okay. But it's reminding us in that last line, darkness can cover the light in you, but darkness cannot put it out. You may have come here to die, the Course in Miracles says. You may have come here to seek a blackness so complete that no ray of light or hope was possible. But you can't put your light out. You can't destroy yourself. So even though your ego came here to die, you can't do it. Good news. I can't destroy myself. Okay? So even when I try to, I can't. Okay? I can't. The light in me cannot be put out. All right. So then, in paragraph 2, it says, thank you. It says, as the light comes nearer, okay, and remember light means truth, okay. As the light comes nearer, teachers and healers, you will, and the word will is underlined in the original, you will rush to darkness. Teachers, healers. As the truth comes nearer to you, teachers and healers, you will shrink from the truth. And sometimes, teachers and healers, you will even retreat to the lesser forms of fear, and sometimes you will retreat to stark terror. Teachers and healers. Okay, as Trudy almost chokes, you know, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. And, you know, it's like, so he's letting us know, he says, but you will advance, okay? So in other words, there is, as we move toward truth, as we move toward the light, which is what we're doing, there are going to be times when we are going to shrink from, we're going to rush back to the darkness. We're going to rush back to fear. We're going to rush back to fear. Sometimes we're going to shrink from the truth, and sometimes we're going to retreat to the lesser forms of fear, and sometimes we're going to retreat to stark terror, teachers and healers, as we advance from fear to truth. There will be days when you're going to go back. You're going to rush back to fear.
Your original desire.
Yeah, you're going to rush back to your original desire that brought you here into a body.
Which to me is your original interpretation.
Right, exactly. But you will advance to the light, to the truth. You know why? Because your goal is the advance from fear to truth. Okay? So to me, that's really encouraging, because it's letting you know, hey, if you are retreating back to fear right now, if you're in fear, if you're a teacher and a healer who's been moving toward the light, the truth, but yet today you're experiencing darkness and fear, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you are lost to the truth. It means, hey, you're progressing. It actually means you're advancing, because only the people who are advancing to the light, to the truth, sometimes get scared and retreat back to fear. So what a great interpretation for those days when you feel like you're failing. Anybody have those days? I'm such a failure as a teacher of light. I'm such a failure as a teacher of God. Oh my God. Yeah, okay, hold that thought. Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So only if you're advancing to the light and to the truth, only then can you retreat back. But it says that you're going to retreat back. It doesn't say, only if you're failing. That's part of the journey. That is part of the journey. What journey? In your advance from fear to truth. That's the spiritual journey that we're on. The spiritual journey that we're on is the advancement from fear to truth. That's the spiritual path that we're on. Moving away from fear, learning that fear isn't real, learning that fear isn't true, learning that fear is a lie, learning that the fear that has been used to control us for so long is not true. It's a lie. We are learning that fear isn't true, and we are moving toward what is true, which is love, which is truth.
I'm glad you're saying this, because I know that when I step back, I get really discouraged with myself when I go, you just don't get it.
See? I'll never get it.
Class, you study, you da-da-da-da-da.
Exactly.
And then I go, and of course you don't beat yourself up, but you want to. Because I'm like, why am I making this little situation to such a mess?
Yes.
But it's nothing.
Right. That's a perfect description for retreating to the lesser forms of fear. It's like, why am I so upset about this little thing when my goal is truth?
Well, it is.
Yeah.
I say, well, what's wrong with me?
Exactly.
Does anyone else go through this, or do they just keep going,
Yes, of course.
I
Well, this answers that. Yeah, exactly. This totally answers that. Yeah.
What I'm hearing, Julie, is he's basically saying that our progress on our journey to truth is not smooth.
There you go.
It is one step forward, one
Two
step
step-
back.
exactly.
One step forward, two steps back.
Right,
They
exactly.
make a big leap forward, but it's not smooth. It's more like a sawtooth.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's exactly right. Yes, Carla.
I think it's important, I love to take things in context. And in the first paragraph, our goal was darkness.
Yes.
And in the second paragraph, it's saying our goal is
The truth.
knowledge and truth.
Right. It was the
Well,
darkness, yeah.
and that's where I'm going. Because every coin has two sides, right? And so the path of knowledge requires us to walk through darkness.
That's exactly right.
Right? The path of knowledge. So if our path, our truest goal, if our highest goal is to know how far does light extend, how far does the truth extend, we have to take it through the darkness.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly what the Course in Miracles tells us, is that this is a journey through fear, our fear, to love.
Right.
And he says, now, if you knew that the journey was through fear to love, would you not be willing to go through fear? But see, if I'm forgetting what my goal is that I've already set, because here I am, in this curriculum, if I knew that the journey is through fear to love, then when fear comes up and I'm retreating, then I'm like, okay, well, this is just part of the journey. It's just part of the journey.
And have greater light and greater knowledge because of it.
And I have greater light. And every single step through that fear toward the love, the light, life gets better.
Yeah.
Life feels safer and more abundant. Yes.
I was gonna say what this reminds me of is that part where some of my greatest accomplishments have been some of my greatest setbacks.
Yes.
And so the Holy Spirit is undoing those ideas that I thought I had something with the ego.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
So I'm not a good judge of myself.
No, he said, just like in that quote, you can't judge between advance and retreat. Some of your deepest retreats, you thought you were advancing. Some of your greatest advancements, you thought you were retreating. You know, and it says, but you will advance. You will advance. You know, because your goal is the advance from fear to truth. Okay? Yes?
One of the lessons it says in that, do not perceive my own best interest.
Exactly. And so now it says, but you will, and will is underlined, you will advance from your fear to the truth of you. Why? Because your goal is the advance from fear to truth. So let's remember that for ourselves. My goal is the advance from fear to truth. That's what's really going on here. That's my spiritual journey here. And then it says, you, and you is underlined, you know this. And the goal which you accepted is the goal of knowledge, for which you did signify your willingness. Sometimes we forget about that. Your goal is the advance from fear to truth. And by the way, don't forget, you're the one, you did signify your willingness to advance from fear to truth. Okay. And it says, Linda, did you have something you wanted to share?
I was just thinking about my husband was in a fraternity fire when the Iranian crisis was going on at DU, and he actually left his body toward the light.
Mm-hmm.
So is that kind of similar to what you're talking about? But then I think he got scared, or he had to come back in his body because of his mother, you know, but he said it was quite a feeling.
Yes, right, exactly. Mm-hmm. We're all moving toward the light. We all came from the light. We were all part of the light, created by the light, living as one, ecstasy, fulfillment in the light. And then a tiny mad idea crossed our mind that thought, maybe the darkness would be more fun. Maybe the darkness will hold something for me that God isn't given to just me, okay? It says, so we're returning back to the light, which is the truth, okay? And so it says, fear seems to live, fear seems to be real in darkness. Which means when you are afraid, you have stepped back. So what does fear mean? It means I have stepped back toward the darkness, away from the light, away from the truth. What does fear mean? I have stepped back from the truth into darkness. That is what fear means. Now, if we accepted that, then we'd go, oh, I'm in fear. That means I am not moving toward the truth. I am not thinking of truth. I'm afraid. It means I don't know the truth right now. I'm afraid. I'm retreating from the truth of who and what I am. That's what fear means. But you know, when you're afraid, you're like, oh, this is the truth about me. We don't remember yet that fear means I don't know the truth. I'm retreating from the fear. I'm retreating from the truth. That's what fear means. I'm afraid. I must not be accepting the truth right now. I'm afraid. I'm retreating from the truth. In other words, instead of being afraid and then believing everything your fears are telling you, this is reminding us of what fear really means. Don't believe your fears. Don't believe them. It's only the believing in them that makes those fears seem real, that keeps you stuck in the darkness instead of continuing your advancement toward the light, toward the truth, toward the peace. So if I am defining fear as me retreating in fear from the truth, then I'm not going to take seriously those fears. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is horrible, and I'm going to be stuck like this. You know, you can be like, this is fear. I am learning that fear is not real. It only seems real in the darkness. My goal is truth. Let me keep moving toward the light. And now that fear ends. Now you're not stuck in it for a day, a week, a month, a year, a lifetime. Okay? When you're interpreting fear correctly. When you are afraid just means you have stepped back from truth. Okay? Because for a moment you become afraid of truth. Because remember it says, we go to truth still fearing truth. We're moving toward truth still afraid of truth. You know, I'm afraid that truth will end my separate identity. I won't even exist as a separate identity. What will happen to Anna? You know, so.
There's a part of me that really doesn't want that.
Exactly. So I'm moving toward truth, still afraid of it. I'm moving toward love, still afraid of love's judgment on me. So my goal is light and truth, but my ego identity is still afraid of it. But that doesn't mean I'm not advancing toward truth. And every time I become afraid, it means I've stepped back from truth in fear of the truth. From love. Now, when that happens, when you become afraid because you have stepped back into fear, do this. It says, when you have stepped back into the darkness, as evidenced by your fear, our teacher says to us, let us then join quickly in an instant of light, which is truth, and that quick instant joining in light will be enough to remind you that your goal is light. Your goal is truth. Okay, so that's the instruction. So it lets you know when you're afraid, what's going on, how'd you get afraid, what's happening, and then it tells you what to do to quickly move forward from fear to the light, to the truth, to the peace. And how does it go? You join with your teacher. You join with your higher self quickly. You say, Spirit, higher self, Holy Spirit, higher self, I need some truth. Help me. Quickly join with your higher self, your teacher, in what? In an instant of truth. Quickly join with your higher self. Higher self, help me. Okay? Remind me of the truth, because I'm afraid. I've stepped back into the darkness. I've stepped back in fear. And remind me, higher self, Holy Spirit, of the truth. And it will be enough to remind you that your goal is light. Now, truth has rushed to meet you since you called upon it. How beautiful is that? Did you know that when you called to truth, when you say, truth, help me, truth, what is the truth about me? Love, God, higher self, what is the truth about me? I'm afraid right now. Then truth rushes to meet you. It doesn't like take its time. It doesn't be like, well, you know, I'm kind of busy right now. You know, yeah, exactly. You know, I'll put you down and I'll get back to you, right? Truth, as soon as you call to truth for peace, when you recognize you're afraid, truth rushes to meet you. That's what happens when you call upon truth. So we're learning here, when you're afraid, you've stepped back into darkness, and the thing to do is to call upon the truth. Call upon the truth. Call upon your higher self, and it will rush to you.
I was reading an article about Bill Thetford. I think it was in, I don't know. Anyways, Bill Thetford is one of the authors of the course, or the helper. Anyhow, he said that the Holy Spirit told him to just say, I am here. I am here, Lord.
Here I am, Lord.
Here I am. I
Yeah.
am here.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
the Holy Spirit, and he said, I will find that effective.
Yes, absolutely. It's so simple. It's just a matter of calling to the truth. That's it. You know, when you're afraid, it means you've stepped back and which means that you have become afraid of the truth. Okay? And all that's necessary is just to call to truth. And then truth will rush to meet you.
And it's when we call the truth, we're demonstrating a truth of acknowledging that I'm not alone.
Yes.
If the ceiling busts in with a bunch of water and the drywall starts falling in, and I'm here by myself, I'm really panicking.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go, I'm here, Lord, and Anna shows up next to me magically, and now there's two of us, then yeah, the problem still seems real, but boy, just knowing that there's somebody else here to help with the problem, it's just not all on me. That in itself immediately lessens the fear.
That's right.
help.
That's exactly right. That's right. You're calling to truth so that you can remember that you are not alone.
Right, you're not alone in whatever the problem.
That's exactly right. Yes,
So
Judy.
that happened to me, my kitchen ceiling fell in.
Speaking of,
I'm
Greg.
serious, and David was with me, and I ran out the door, and I didn't call for God. I called the insurance company. No, it's been the night here, we can't.
I love it. So when your kitchen roof fell in, you didn't call for God, you called the insurance company. Yes, that's great. That's great.
Questions.
That's right. And did they rush? Did they rush to meet you?
Are you kidding?
That's what I thought.
Insurance company.
That's the difference between God and the insurance company.
Well, and I was in
Yes.
the wrong world, but I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly right.
Wrong state of mind.
That's right. Exactly.
But I did know I couldn't breathe.
Right. Gotcha.
So at least I knew to get my body out.
Very
It
good.
wasn't like I just laid down and said,
That's very good.
so be it.
Right.
Did
Exactly.
this happen recently?
No, that was years ago.
Years ago.
Yeah. All right. Yes, Bill.
You said something a while ago that just went right through. To me, the belief in fear is what creates it. If you believe, like you said, if you believe I can't breathe, then you don't fear. You don't know, but I can, I'm breathing.
Right.
So, and to me, the idea is when you believe something is fearful, you create fear. And if you change your mind about what's there, and
Yes.
see what's true,
Yes.
then you're free, then you're on your way.
That's
And
right.
that is the miracle.
Exactly right.
Change
That's the
your mind,
miracle.
change your mind.
That's a miracle. And so, exactly what you guys are saying anticipates the next paragraph, where it says in paragraph 3, and so if you knew who walks beside you on this way, which you have chosen, fear would be impossible. If you knew who walks beside you on this way, the way where you're moving from fear to truth, then fear would be impossible. So, if you have fear right now, wherever there is fear is where you do not know who walks beside you on this way that you have chosen. You've forgotten you've even chosen to be on this path from advancing from fear to truth. First of all, you've forgotten that you're even on this path. And number 2, you don't know who walks beside you on this way. When you choose this way where you're going to be advancing from fear to truth, you don't go alone. The moment you go, I want to move from fear to truth, then mighty companions join you. And if you knew who walked beside you on this path that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. So wherever there's fear right now, it's because, number 1, you've forgotten that you're on the road, that you're on the way, advancing, progressing from fear to truth, and you don't know who walks beside you on this path. And only if you had forgotten those 2 things could you be afraid. Which means if you don't want to be afraid anymore, then here's the thing to remember. Here's the thing to acknowledge. I have decided that I do want to advance from fear to truth, and because I decided on that goal, I am not walking alone. And then fear gone. Fear gone. Yes.
There's such depth just in that one sentence. Because who is capitalized.
That's right.
It's a reference to one entity.
Yes, right.
The entity of one.
Yes.
God, divine, whatever. Word reflects, but the word before new is a very nuanced and deep word, right? Because new is not intellectual, new is experiential.
Yes.
I may believe something
Right.
but the only way I know it is through experience.
That's right.
And part of our journey is that we know the divine through the darkness we walk.
Yes.
Right? Because when I get on the other side of fear, I now know, God's always provided.
Yes.
So then the next fear I come into, it's like, oh yeah, well I know that God that's walking beside me provides. But if I hadn't had that experience, and so part of the power of that, and kind of going back to what Julie was saying earlier about, getting frustrated when we go into the darkness,
Right.
is it's an opportunity to know a deeper level of who walks with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Yes.
That's really true, that idea.
Yeah.
Jung said they asked her if she believed in God. He said, I don't believe in God.
I know God. Yeah, it's beautiful. Exactly.
To me, if you believe you're alone,
Right.
someone's walking behind you, then you're going to be fear. You create the fear. If you know the truth that someone's beside you, really know that
That's right.
divine presence is there.
That's exactly
If
right.
someone believes, you know.
That's exactly right.
And fear is gone.
That's right. And as soon as you call to that one, whatever you call that one, God, spirit, love, truth, whatever, when you call to it, that's when you know you're not alone. Because according to this, as soon as you call to that one, it rushes to meet you. Rushes to meet you at your call. But because love is loving, and because love is not like the ego, it has to wait till you call. That which loves you doesn't force itself on you, even if your intent is loving, even if its intent is loving. So love and truth has to wait till you call on it. But as soon as you call, it's done. It rushes to meet you, to let you know that you are not alone, that you are supported, you are appreciated, you are loved, you are provided for as soon as you call it. So that's why the Course in Miracles is trying to get us to interpret fear as a call to love. So when you're afraid, you've retreated from love and truth, being afraid of it somehow. And so the answer is to call to love. And that is the cure of the fear. Okay? Beautiful. So when you call to love, it will rush to you, and then you will know that you are not alone. And it says, paragraph 3, if you knew who walks beside you on this path from fear to love, which you have chosen, fear would be impossible. Now, you do not know who walks beside you on this path. Why? Because your journey into fear has been long and cruel, and you have gone deep into fear.
Good job.
Anybody relate to that? That's right. I don't recognize who walks beside me because my journey into fear, into darkness by myself has been long and cruel, and I have gone deep into my fear.
I'm really hoping I'm not going deeper on Tuesday.
Saying that already happened.
It's already going to be challenging.
It comes to my mind when you say the call for fear, help!
Exactly. He says that's all you have to say. The call to truth is otherwise known as help. The call to love, help me love. I've retreated into darkness of fear. And not only have I retreated into fear, but my journey into fear has been long and cruel. Honey, you got an hour? I'll tell you all about it. I was born into fear. And then my growth was attended by fear. And then I slept with fear, and then I had some fear babies. And then I was persecuted by fear. To the point where I thought that's all there is. And to the point where it was all fear and no ray of light, no ray of hope seemed possible in my fearful dream.
The thing about that is that, and then we spread fear.
Yeah.
And instead of love.
Yes. That's right.
When we're fearful and we share it.
That's right. Exactly.
It's not alone in it.
Exactly. That's right. It makes us seem, when we share fear, it makes us seem like we're not alone in our fear. But fear is something where no matter how many people agree with you on fear, you still feel very scared and very alone.
Exactly.
No matter how many people you get to agree with you that you should be afraid and your fear is real, you will still feel afraid and you still will feel alone. Exactly.
Not only that,
Company does not solve misery.
So if you live with someone that is so fear-based all the time, like don't smile at that person because they might shoot you.
Right.
You know, or don't, you know, you have to forgive them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You have to forgive their fear because fear is addictive too.
Absolutely.
Clearly.
Clearly, fear is addictive to the ego. To the ego. And so he says, you don't know who walks beside you because your journey into fear has been long and cruel and you have gone deep into the fear. And the little flicker of your eyelids, called beginning to awaken, the little flicker of your eyelids closed so long has not yet been sufficient to give you confidence in yourselves so long despised. Okay, so we're just beginning to, our eyelids to flicker open. We're just beginning to awaken. You know how when you're beginning to awaken, your eyes kind of flicker awake as you're just beginning to wake in the morning? Is saying that just because our eyelids have begun to flicker awake does not mean that we have that hasn't been enough to give us full confidence in ourselves, because we have been despising ourselves for so long that just this little flicker of our eyelids has not been yet sufficient to give us confidence in ourselves. So here we are, we're on this journey, advancing from fear to truth. We are awakening to the truth of us, the truth about us. But because our journey into fear has been so long and deep and cruel that we haven't sufficiently woken up enough to have full confidence in ourselves as only love. Okay? So, in other words, be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Your journey into fear was long and deep and cruel, and you went very deep into it. Who knows how many lifetimes our journey into fear was? Right. No telling. So, because of that, it's like your journey into fear was very long and deep and cruel. But even still, you are advancing toward the light, toward the truth. So be patient with yourself. Be compassionate for yourself. Stop expecting that you should have mastered this already. It's like, you know, we are like expecting that we should have mastered this. We put an expectation on ourselves that we should have mastered it, that we should have no more fear. He's saying, you know, be appreciative. You're on the path from fear to love. So you're good. Be patient with yourself. Have mercy on yourself. Have compassion on yourself. You went long and deep into fear, but you are now on the journey away from fear to truth. And you will advance. And so if you have a moment when you're retreating for a moment back to fear, have mercy on yourself. Be appreciative that, hey, you're on the path, you're on the journey, and you will advance. So be patient with yourself. Have mercy on yourself.
I'm thinking this is the perfect opportunity to remember this truth for all of creation.
Exactly. And remember that for everybody. Yes.
She was saying that fear is addictive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only addictive, it's very contagious.
It's contagious.
We live in this almost, especially in this political situation right now.
Yes. It's contagious, exactly.
To me, one of the ways I've gotten in the course, there's a lesson. I choose a piece of God.
Yes, instead of fear.
Instead of God, instead of
Yes, exactly.
pain.
That's right.
In this case, when something's fearful, I choose the strength of God instead of pain.
Yes, exactly.
So we make a choice.
That's right.
That was a change to me. We choose fear.
Yes, exactly. And the world is dark because of fear.
Yeah.
The darkness in the world that we all see all around us is fear. That's all it is. It's just fear. And for some reason we thought we wanted fear. For some reason we thought that would be a great idea.
We actually chose it.
We chose it, And but just because we chose to come into the darkness of fear doesn't mean that we can't choose once again and decide that what we really want is the light of truth. And that's who the miracle workers, that's who the saviors of the world are. The people who chose the fear of darkness, but then realized that they chose wrongly and that they can choose again. And they're like, now I want the light. Now I want the truth. Okay? And that's us.
I think sometimes we forget that peace can also be addictive and contagious.
And thank you. And now, thank you for saying that, because now peace has become addictive and contagious. Yes.
And picking up on that point, there's this line in the Manual for Teachers talking about the development of trust, that the teacher of God must learn to lay all judgment aside and to ask, and only ask that he be taught by the Holy Spirit of what he really wants in every circumstance. And were not each step in this direction so heavily reinforced, it would be hard indeed.
That's exactly right.
When we make a step forward towards our goal, he's telling us that we are heavily supported by the divine.
That's exactly right. Every step in our advancement from fear to truth is heavily supported. Heavily supported with legions. The Course in Miracles uses the word legions to describe all of the helpers that has rushed to meet us, that is helping us. Every step, if not every step in this progression, were heavily supported. We wouldn't be able to do it. We would not be able to advance from fear to truth if every step wasn't heavily supported, mightily supported.
I like that idea of every step.
Every step.
As you choose,
Yeah.
choose again,
Every step,
choose again,
which
choose
is
again.
every decision, every choice.
You keep walking.
That's exactly right. That's
Sometimes
exactly
you
right.
make a decision, and that's the whole thing.
That's right.
The little decisions we're making.
That's exactly right.
Step
Beautiful.
at a time, step at a time.
So it says, I love that, it says, the little flicker of your eyelids closed so long has not yet been sufficient to give you confidence in yourselves so long despised. And that's why we go toward love, still hating love, That's why we go toward love on this journey, still terribly afraid of love's judgment upon us. And we do not realize that we are not afraid of love, but only of what we have made of love. So this is a journey where we are progressing from fear. We are advancing from fear to love, but we have not awakened enough yet to not be still afraid of the love and the truth and the light that we are advancing toward. So at least we're advancing toward it, but because the journey into fear was so long and deep and cruel, we're advancing toward love, still terribly afraid of love's judgment on us, not realizing that it's not love that we're afraid of, but what we have made of love. Yes.
I love how this section is talking about, it supports the idea that we don't know who walks with us.
That's right.
We're afraid of love, and we can use the word God
Mm-hmm.
in place of love. there,
Absolutely.
Because we've made of God like angry and
Yes.
vengeful and
Which is what we've made of love. You know, what we've made of love is what we've made of God, which is vengeful, judgmental, abandoning, punishing, you know. And so we've decided that love is our goal, but we haven't corrected our fear of love. We haven't corrected all of our misperceptions and projections onto God and onto love. So it's so interesting. We now know that we want love and God and truth and the light as our goal, but we haven't healed that part of us that's still afraid of love and still afraid of God. So we go toward love and God and truth, still terribly afraid of God and love's judgment upon us.
And a piece of programming in me that's been really challenging to overcome is the belief that after something loving happens, something loving and supportive happens, there's always this, when is the other shoe going to drop?
Right.
There's that piece.
That's our fear of love.
That's part of my fear of
That's
love.
right. That's one of the manifestations of our fear of love. You know, I'm experiencing love, but look, I have fear. You know, what happens every time we experience something really loving? There's a part of us that retreats. You know, we're all aware of that. You know, we're all aware of when somebody's very loving, the part of us that goes, what do you want? Right. And we're all aware of being very loving to another, and they freaking run away from us. I said, all I said was, I love you. And they're like, running away, cannot get away from us fast enough. So we're all aware, you know, we all have set the goal of love as opposed to fear, but we all still have not allowed our projections and misperceptions of love and God to be corrected. So we're moving toward our love, to truth, to God, still terribly afraid of love's judgment. I want love, but I'm still afraid that love's going to reject me. I don't know about you. I am still afraid that love's going to reject me, right? Total projection, nonetheless, but that's, and so have mercy on yourself. You are moving toward love, still terribly afraid of love, but you're still advancing. That's still your goal. You're still moving toward truth and love. So have patience on yourself when your fears come up. They're gonna come up. Like Carla said, that's part of the journey. This is a journey through your fears to the love that's waiting for you on the other side, that's calling you. So.
I was talking to Darlene on the phone yesterday, and we were talking about her breathing fear. She says, no, right now I feel God's arms around me and holding me.
Nice.
Fear went away.
Oh, beautiful. See?
Imagination. Not only beside us.
Yeah.
He's got us in his arms.
That's it, exactly. Holding us up. Course in Miracles talks about God holding us up.
Yeah, when
You
the
know.
child's afraid.
Exactly. That's right.
The other goes away.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, Greg.
That end of that paragraph, you're not afraid of love, but only what you made of love.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote down, change hell when hell comes to you, which is any perceived problem. Change hell by changing the meaning of hell, the meaning you gave hell. What better way to change the meaning of hell than to change its spelling? Remove the duplicate letter at the end of the word hell and exchange it with the letter P. Now you can see that hell is just hell misspelled.
Hell is just help misspelled. That's great. I love that. That's great. That's right. This hell is my call for help. The answer to this hell is to call for help. You know, call to truth.
So for millennia, we have programmed our fear by
Yeah.
our definition of what love is.
Yes.
Right? We have millennia of training that say, if you love God, which is the representation of love,
Right.
you will
Do this.
whatever this is.
Yeah.
I remember growing up when I was young, there was these two cute little like cherub kids, and there was love is, and it was always in a heart.
Right.
Right, and then they were doing different things. They were hugging or whatever. But I also remember if you loved God, you would evangelize.
Yes.
Right? If you loved God,
You would sacrifice. Right,
If
yes.
you loved God, you would, right? And so, in a lot of ways, love was equated with, if you love God, you will hate this.
Right.
And so a lot
Yes.
of unprogramming has to happen.
That's a lot.
We have millennia of
Programming of what love
programming,
is.
you know, the relationship, you know, not only does God love me, but what does love look like for me toward God?
Yeah, right.
External.
That's right.
And so I think we have to be gracious with ourselves to understand that it's not just this lifetime's layers of darkness we're walking through.
It's exactly right. You know, we have for lifetimes and millennia learned that love was hate. Literally. You know, like you said, you know, we've learned that, well, if you love God, then you will hate that, or you will hate this, you know. And so of course our fears are going to come up on this journey. Of course our fears are going to come up, and come up really hard sometimes on this path that we have chosen, because we're moving toward the thing that we learned to fear the most. And so, of course, our fears are going to come up. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with others. Be compassionate with yourself. And, you know, and really, like we were saying, redefine fear as, I'm experiencing my fear of love right now. I'm experiencing my fear of love right now, because what is fear? It's when I'm retreating from love. And why would I retreat from love? Because I'm afraid of it. Because what I learned about love, it demands sacrifice. You know, that's the first thing we loved about love. It demands, love is sacrifice. Not that love is sacrifice, is what we have learned. And so it makes sense that as we go toward our love, that our fears are going to surface, you know. And so what if when we noticed we were afraid, we said, I'm afraid of love right now. I'm afraid of love right now. Help me, love. Help, love, show me that there's nothing to fear in love. Show me that there's nothing to fear in love. Show me that love is what I want, and that love is, there's nothing to fear in love. So fear is the opposite of love, which means that the fear is the fear of love. You know, the absence of love, the fear of love. That really puts it into perspective.
And I really do not yet believe that love has no opposite.
And I really do not believe that love has no opposite. I really do not believe that love does not demand sacrifice. I really don't believe yet that love doesn't judge me or abandon me or punish me. Yeah.
I like the word of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes when fear translates to rejection,
Yes.
and you have a situation of some incident happened with a relationship or something like that, is rejection or depression and all that. And I know when I do that, I learned somewhere, or remember that movie, Fiddle on the Roof?
Yeah.
And there's a phrase in there that says, "Do you love me?"
Yes.
So I say that to God, and all of a sudden it just melts. This rejection and the fears, depression, whatever it is. Do you love me?
Yes.
Of course, God loves us.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful thing to do, that when you feel fear, ask God if God loves you. That's beautiful. It's a really beautiful idea. I love that. And to redefine fear as fear of love turns that fear into a call for the love. And like we heard, when you call on love, love doesn't say, I'll get back to you. Love rushes to you, to meet you, to answer your fear, to go, hey, nothing to fear. You know. So then in paragraph 4, it says, you are advancing to love's meaning, which means you are advancing away from all illusions in which you have surrounded love. And when you retreat to your illusions of love, your fear increases. Okay. So whenever you're retreating back to your ideas about love, you'll know because your fear increases. That's how you know you're retreating to your illusions of love. Because when you're retreating to your illusions, your meaning of love, your fear increases, because there is little doubt that what you think love means is fearful. Little doubt that what we think love means is fearful. There ain't no doubt about that. Okay, so when you're experiencing fear, it's because you have retreated to your meaning of love, which is terrifying. That's why when somebody says they love us, we go, oh no, you know, what does that mean? And then when we say we love people, they run away. We're like, I just said I love you. Where are you going? Okay. And that's because our definition of love is fearful. But all this fear of love, what is that? All those times that we retreat to our meanings of love and get scared, what is that to us who travel surely and very swiftly away from fear? So all the fears that come up around love, all our fears of love, all our fears of God, all our fears of each other, all our fears around that, what is that to us who already are traveling very surely and very swiftly away from fear? Wow, I forgot that that's what we were doing. I forgot that that's the journey that we're on. I forgot that that's what the spiritual journey that we are on is. We are traveling very swiftly and surely away from fear. So yeah, fear is going to come up. Yeah, your fear of love is going to come up. Yeah, that's fine. That's part of the journey. No big deal. What's that to us?
So what?
So what? So what? Of course fear comes up. What's that to us who are traveling swiftly and surely away from fear? So what? Who cares? It's just fear. It's just fear. And fear is just the fear of love. So this is a way when it's telling us when you retreat back to darkness, when you retreat back to fear, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to remember to not stay stuck and to keep moving forward to the light, to the love. Okay? And it says, and you who hold each other's hands, that's us, by the way, you who have joined, see us here? We have joined in the goal of truth and love. We are joined on the path, on the journey from fear to love. That's what brought us all together. And so now our teacher is speaking directly to us who have joined on this journey toward this goal. Okay, that's us. He says, and you who hold each other's hand also hold mine. Okay. Why? Because when you all joined each other in this goal, you were not alone. Woo! Wow. So when we joined each other and took each other's hands on this journey from fear to love, we weren't alone. Someone joined with us. Okay? I wonder who that is. He says, and then our teacher who joined with us. So it's interesting that our teacher and our Savior joins us when we take each other's hands. So it's not like, oh, Spirit, take my hand. Spirit's like, well, when you take each other's hands, I take y'all's hands. See how that goes? All right. Now he says, and then our teacher says, now, do you believe that I would leave you all in the darkness that you agreed to leave with me? Well, in your relationship with each other, y'all, everybody here, in your relationship is this world's light. In our relationship, us who have joined in this purpose on this journey, which we obviously have, is this world's light. And fear must disappear before us now. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? In other words, we are the light of the world. We who have joined on this journey, advancing from fear to truth. And then love and our teacher has joined with us. In our relationship is this world's light. That is what brings light into the darkness of this world. Isn't that beautiful? So we are the bringers of light into the darkness. But it's we, not me, not you. It's we. The light of the world is in our relationship, a we. When we join in this goal from going from fear to truth, the light of the world joins with us and saves and then brings the light into the darkness. Isn't that beautiful? It's in our joining. And I'm so glad because that takes all the pressure off of each one of us. You know, I don't know how to save a world.
Right.
I don't even know how to save myself. But the saving of the world, the bringing of the light into the darkness occurs when we join in this holy purpose.
No separation. We join.
That is the light of the world. We are the light of the world, not I am the light of the world, not you are the light of the world, not that saint is the light of the world. It's our relationship. He says, in your relationship, in our relationship is this world's light. And so fear disappears before our relationship where we have joined and taken each other's hands in this advancement from fear to truth. Isn't that beautiful? You know, and when you have decided to do what you cannot accomplish alone, then you are no longer alone. You know, and remember, fear can only seem to be real if you believe you're alone. Wow. So the answer to fear is the realization that we're not alone. That we're not alone. I love that. Okay, So, thoughts, questions, comments? I'm going to stop here for today, even though it's just chock full. Yes?
As you were sharing that story, it reminded me, my dad was raised in Kansas. And Kansas, in snow blizzards, because it's so flat, there's no orientation.
Right.
And my dad came from a large family, 6 kids, and they would go to school. And then the snowstorm would come up.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way they could get home would be, Grandpa would take a big rope and go get them. And everyone had to not hold on to the rope, and they had to hold someone else's hand. And everyone in the line was navigating a different place of the journey and informing what was on the path.
Wow.
So it wasn't just Grandpa, but it was everyone. Because I might be here recognizing there's a hole that's not here. And so it was in being connected that they got home safely.
That's so beautiful.
You know, and we're here to walk each other home.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
Yes, we don't get home alone.
right.
There is no home alone. You know, you don't get home alone. And so you only get home by taking each other's hands. You only get through the fear by taking each other's hands. And when you take each other's hands, then love takes y'all's hands. Yes, that story just gave me chills, just all up and down my body. Thank you. Yes, Trudy.
When I was a traveling sales rep, I traveled alone, and I got in a terrible storm out near Lyman, and this big truck was in front of me, and so I just followed him, and he was going like 20, and I was going like 20 right behind him. And we made it into town and into the motel, followed him right in, and they had one room left, and the girl said, you're going to want to go eat across the street at the cafe, but you can't see in the storm, so I'm going to have my kid who works here with me, come and get you, and you'll cross this highway down into a ravine and cross the other highway, and then when you're done eating, I want you to call me so that he can hold your hand on the way back.
That's so
and you
beautiful.
don't get lost.
That's,
Did you share the room?
yeah.
One for me and one for you.
Oh.
And so what occurs to me...
The story is about to take an interesting turn here.
What occurs to me about this is that I wasn't smart enough, A, to know that I shouldn't even try to go to the cafe.
Right.
And I still was provided with the answer before I even had a chance to have the feeling.
Yes.
So I believe that there's a part of us that anchors and grounds us in God.
Yes.
And in that grounding, we are given not always
Whatever we need.
Not always, but those things then help us to remember the truth in times when we're
Afraid.
feeling like we're grounding alone.
Exactly.
Back to the experience.
That's right. Experience. That's exactly right.
Recall the experiences where love must have been supporting me, otherwise I never would have got through that on my own.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I love it. How encouraging. What an encouraging message today. Very encouraging.
And very timely.
And very timely. Very timely. What to do when you have retreated back into the darkness, which is back into the fear. And remember, when you've retreated back into the fear, it means you've retreated, you're afraid of love, because now you're retreating back to your meaning of love. And that's why you're afraid. And it told us exactly what to do when that happens, exactly what it means, and exactly what to do to enable love to rush to you and to hold you up and to hold your hands and to bring you on farther toward the light. All right. So, thank you. Is that God calling? Right when I said God, love would rush to meet you, the phone rings. Hey, love. All right, let's do our love offering. Trudy, will you grab the basket and push it around? I mean, pass it around.
I'm standing up, so I might as well do it.
Oh, thank you, honey. And so very brief announcements are, I do 2 other classes that I want to tell you about. Also, I want to tell you that if you want to give to the Miracle Center, one way you can do that is to go to the Miracle Center website. And the Miracle Center website is RockyMountainMiracleCenter.org, right? Okay. And there's a donate button. If you would like to support the Miracle Center, that's a great way to do that. If you would like to support this ministry, this Miracle Center, another way to do that is if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, to like, share, and subscribe, or share it on your Facebook. I do a Sunday night class with Greg, Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles, every Sunday night on my Facebook or YouTube channel, live, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then every Monday on my YouTube channel, it's 7 p.m. live streaming on YouTube. Soon it'll be on YouTube and Facebook. You have to check out both for my classes on Monday, every Monday, 7 p.m. All right. Wonderful. And yes.
And we have also some new offerings here at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center.
Wonderful. Tell us about those.
Start and or have started. So I'm going to have Bhavani tell about for yoga.
Wonderful.
On Thursday, starting this week, Tom Furman's going to do music and meditation.
On Thursday.
On Thursday.
So Thursday,
So
Tom
have
Furman,
Friday
music
night,
meditation. Okay.
Which he does kirtans, but he's now offering music and meditation
Wonderful.
on Thursdays.
Beautiful. And what time?
At 7.
Thursday, 7 p.m. here at the Miracle Sim. Tom Furman is doing music and meditation.
And then on Wednesday.
And on Wednesday, Bhavani, you want to stand up and share what you're doing on Wednesday?
Yeah, we're
Wednesdays?
gonna do community yoga.
Community
It's at
yoga.
4:30. It's at 4:30, so you can catch it on your way home or
Okay.
catch it before it starts.
Okay.
So yeah, 4:30, and it'll be a basic, all levels, community. Everybody can participate. It's Hatha yoga.
Hatha
It will
yoga.
not be anything. We're not going to fly through the air. We're not going to go.
Aw.
So, yeah,
It's not aerial yoga.
And we want like $10 to $12 because we kind of want to support the Miracle
Yeah.
Center, but the Miracle Center is allowing us to kind of build this by donation.
Mm-hmm.
So please come. Don't let money keep you away is my point. Right here, right here.
So yoga, community yoga, 4:30 Wednesdays, bring your own mat. Okay.
Until we can get a collection going, bring your own mat.
That's Wednesday.
Wednesday at 4:30.
A Wednesday?
Wednesdays. All right, wonderful. So I'm just going to do a 2-minute integration meditation where we take the ideas and we just let them sink in. So I want you to get comfortable, close your eyes, take a breath, and just breathe. Tune inward for a moment. Just notice how you feel right now, having joined with others in listening to these loving, healing ideas. Take a breath. Now I want you to bring to your awareness some place in your mind or in your life right now where you are experiencing some fear. And wherever that is in your world, in your life, in your body, in your mind, where you are experiencing fear, I want you to tell yourself right now the truth about this fear. Tell yourself, this is fear. And fear only seems real in darkness. This fear only seems real in my being alone. Tell yourself, this fear is my fear of love. Tell yourself, in this area of my life, truth must have been coming near to me. Love must have been coming near to me. And I became afraid. Love must be around here somewhere. Love rushed to meet me since I called upon it. And now I'm afraid. But I'm not afraid of love. I'm just afraid of what I made love to be. And so now, in your fear, I want you to call to love, call to truth. Love, tell me the truth, love. Come to me, love. And I want you to tell yourself, I am advancing from fear to love. I am advancing from fear to truth. I am on my way. And tell yourself, just because I stepped back for a moment into fear, just because I have retreated back into fear of love, does not mean I'm not on my way. I will advance to truth, to love. Tell yourself, I did call to love. I did call to truth. And now I am on my way. And I do not walk alone. From the moment I stepped on this path, from fear to love, I was joined with mighty, mighty companions. Holy Spirit itself. And I want you to feel the hands that you hold, that are holding your hands. And I want you to see if you can sense and perceive all the mighty companions who are walking this path back home to love with you. Mighty lights have joined with us. And if you knew who walks beside us now on the path we have chosen, fear would be impossible. So tell yourself silently, I am advancing from fear to truth, and I do not go alone. I am not alone. And fear will never prevail. And ask yourself, what is this fear to me? Who do not go alone, who have joined mighty lights on our return back to love. What's fear to us? Us who travel surely and swiftly away from fear and toward the truth. It's just fear. And fear is nothing but a call to love. Thank you, love, for hearing my call. Thank you, love, for rushing to meet me when I called on you. Thank you, love, for not leaving me alone in my fear. Thank you. Thank you, love. Thank you, mighty companions. Thank you, God. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, just take a breath and come on back to your body. Wow, you guys, that was awesome. Thanks for being here. Thank you guys for, yes.
I also forgot to mention that Ron Grove will be here today at 1:30, doing the weekly workshop on 2 lessons. Really nice to stay around for that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Carla, for my appreciate you guys watching.